Well, hello, Commodores, and welcome back to the TCMS Library. Let's talk about shelf care. Each book has a special place on the shelf. Messy shelves make it really hard to find books, guys, so let's try to keep them neat. Let's take a look at what this might look like. This shelf is too messy. The books have been put back on there backwards. And these are all falling over. How are you ever going to find the book that you would like? Oh, what a difference. Now you can find a book easily. So let's try to keep those books pulled out to the edge. Fiction books are labeled with an F for fiction, and then the first three letters of the author's last name. Gary Paulson would be F-P-A-U. Let's take a look around the library. But first, a picture of my dog. This is Lily sitting on a stool. All right, so this is our graphic novels section. You can find graphic novels and you can also find manga in this same section. Favorites like Smile, Amulets. Underneath that, you will find graphic non-fiction. And below that is world language. These are books that are written in languages other than English. All right, so we have a sports section. So if you like to read about sports, basketball, football, lacrosse, gymnastics, you see the label. This is our how-to section, not fiction. All right, so then we also have a horror section. So if you like ghost stories, things like that, notice the label. It's got a ghost and then the F and the first three letters of the author's last name. So if you like scary stuff, horror fiction is where you want to go. Spooky stuff. All right, we have a mystery section. Kidnappings, detectives. Notice the label. This is a question mark, the mystery. So look for those white spine labels that have the F, the author's first three letters of the author's last name, and then the genre. There's our beautiful loom. And our next section we're going to take a look at is adventure. So if you dig super exciting stuff, a lot of action, I hope you guys can't hear my dog panting. Adventure is where you want to go. So again, check those white spine labels. It's got F and then three letters of the author's last name, and then it has a genre sticker. So Miles Morales, Spider-Man, that's where your superhero stories are. We have a romance section. It's very lovey-dovey around here. And after you get past romance, you will find a short story section. So short stories, a bunch of little, really small stories in one big book. So there's some cool stuff in short stories. And then we have a verse section. So I love verse novels. Verse novels are written more like poetry. So there's very few words on a page. They're not written in paragraphs and sentences. They're written in prose, which is lines and stanzas. Next is humor. Humor. These are the funny books. So this is another genre of fiction. Here's where your old favorite Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Dork Diaries. So if you want silly books, you're going to find those in the humor section. And next we have historical fiction. Historical fiction. These are novels that are set in the past. So maybe during the Revolutionary War, maybe during World War II. Historical fiction, if you want to learn about something that took place in the past. More historical fiction. And next we come to our genre of animals. So again, another genre of fiction, the one and only Ivan. I'm sure many of you have read. No. And these are all your favorite books that deal with animals as main characters. And we also have a little bit of nonfiction in our animals section as well. Okay? The next section is sci-fi. So if you like reading about futuristic societies, maybe aliens, maybe dystopias, sci-fi is your genre of fiction. So take a look at some of these titles, guys, like The Hunger Games. You're all familiar with that series. My dog just burped. A Scythe, one of my favorite books from last year. And now we're into realistic fiction. So realistic fiction is a genre of fiction where the characters and their problems seem like they could be real. So are their parents having a divorce? Are they getting remarried? Are they having problems with their friends at school? This is what you're going to get in realistic fiction, okay? This is a pretty popular genre. The Thing About Leftovers, C.C. Payne is from Kentucky. Wonder, I'm sure many of you have read that fantastic book and seen the movie. So realistic is a genre you might want to check out. Counting by sevens. All right, fantasy, magic, dragons, witches, wizards, unicorns, fantastic creatures. So fantasy is along the back wall with a whiteboard in between. If you like your Warrior series, if you like your Aragon, if you like your Harry Potter, if you're into Rick Riordan, so many series there. So if you like fantasy, we have a whole genre of fiction devoted to that. And let's take a look at classics. Guys, these are your books that have stood the test of time. So Pride and Prejudice, The Little Princess, The Lord of the Flies, Charles Dickens. These are the kind of books that you're going to find in classics. So those are your genres of fiction. What will you read next? There's another picture of my dog, guys. Bye, Commodores.